Well, it's been over 6 months since I last made a film for my potentially award-winning channel on YouTube. I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you one of the changes which has taken place since last October, when I left Wakefield to come and live here in Farsley, between Leeds and Bradford. Anyway, I've come to live here with a friend of mine in Farsley. His garden is much smaller than the garden I used to toil in Wakefield. I'll show you around. I've brought the fig trees with me. You may remember that last year I grew a number of fig trees from cuttings I took. I brought many of them here. It's funny, I've got 13 of them. How very biblical. 13 fig trees which I grew from cuttings. Let's show you. So here are some of them, including the biggest ones. I took them from 3 trees last year. Most of them are from a tree which I took cuttings from in the front garden of a house in the town of Pudsey near here. So obviously I call them the Pudsey fig. I'm not sure of the variety, but I think they're brown turkey figs. I've seen the figs fruiting. I think I've told you this before. I've seen the fig tree fruiting and tasted the fruit. They were quite delicious. So most of these here are these Pudsey figs. I've also got some licorice plants. I've never grown licorice before. Here's one of them. I grew these plants from some old seed I found last year at my housemates in Wakefield. The soil around here, as in Wakefield, is a heavy clay. And licorice plants don't thrive in heavy clay. They prefer sandy soil. So I've got them in these large pots which I've filled with a mixture of John Innes No. 3 compost and sand. There's that one there, and another one which is doing very well here. Licorice being a legume, it's like peas and beans. Was once widely cultivated in a town not far from here, Pontefract. Sadly, the agricultural business of growing licorice in Pontefract has declined considerably. So I'm even more proud to be making a token gesture to the world of licorice cultivation by growing some plants here in Farsley. Anyway, back to the plants. So I've got this raised bed here which I've filled with 6 different varieties of mint, including this one here. This is pineapple mint. We've got some Moroccan mint over here. We've got some apple mint there. Some cat mint, meow meow meow. Over here we've got garden mint. We've got some eau de cologne. I was explaining to the lady who I bought most of these plants off, including the eau de cologne. When I was a kid, my grandfather would describe something as having an unpleasant smell as being like eau de cologne with its hat off. And I've never understood that expression. So if anyone has a clue as to why something that smells awful should be described as eau de cologne with its hat off, then please feel free to write and let me know. Back to the mint. This is Bowles mint, which I've read is similar to apple mint, except its leaves are larger. And it was first noted in the garden of a Mr. Bowles, which is why it's called Bowles mint. We've got some more figs down here. What I'm doing this year, as it's the second year for these figs, I'm wanting them to put their energies into root growth and stem growth. So I'm not letting them fruit apart from this one. I'm just letting one fruit. Look at that little fig. Look at that little fig, yeah? I'm just letting that one grow. There's a little token. There used to be some bamboo here. I've taken most of it down. I don't like sterile plants like bamboo. I really don't. I think if you're going to grow something that you can chuff and eat or use for something. Some more figs here. I've also got a taro vine growing here. A hardy kiwi. I'm going to grow it up this side of this shed. It's only just started growing really, despite having been planted maybe 2 months ago now, maybe even longer, maybe 10 weeks. But sadly I did neglect it in its early days. I just let it flop on the floor, and it's only recently I've started looking after it and supporting it, so it's just putting on some growth now. This is a variety called Ken's Red, not Red Ken, Ken's Red. Yes, that's what it's called, Ken's Red. We've got another variety of taro vine which has only been in this pot now for a couple of weeks really. When I bought it recently it was in flower, and it's since started to fruit. My intention is to grow it up this tree here, and what I've done is yesterday I took all the fruits off again to focus its energies into root and stem growth. Over here, oh, just before we go over there, let's go back to the this taro vine. It's the self-pollinating variety called Issei. Yeah, it's called Issei. This taro vine over here, which has been in a month, maybe 6 weeks now, it's put on some decent growth. I'm going to train it up this fence. It's the male variety called Wakey. Not as in the colloquial form of the city where I used to live called Wakefield, but it's spelled W-E-I-K-I. It's a male pollinator for the female varieties like Red Ken over there, or Ken's Red rather. I think finally, what I'll show you, over here in this raised bed, this is quite a shady area of the garden, and stuck as what to plant here. I thought what I'll do is I'll go over to my father's garden in Batley, where many moons ago now I grew some sweet Cicely, the perennial, which was traditionally used to add to tart fruits such as rhubarb to reduce its tartness. It's sort of an alternative to sugar. It was widely used before sugar became known in England. Anyway, so it's a hardy perennial and quite a nice, lovely plant really, with feathery foliage, and you can eat its leaves. Its leaves taste of aniseed. Quite a pleasant flavour, can be added to salads. And it has a very pretty flower and nice seed heads too. And it prefers to grow in dappled shade. In fact, it's funny, over in Batley in my father's garden, it's in a sunny border where its leaves often scorch. So it should enjoy itself more here in the dappled shade of this raised bed. It likes to have moist roots, so I keep it well watered with a very special liquid fertiliser I use. Anyway, so yeah, garden's a lot smaller here, but I've managed to squeeze in some of the plants which I love to grow. And I hope you've enjoyed this tour of my garden. It's given me as much pleasure showing you around as I hope you've yielded from watching this. Hope to give you an update on some bits and bats soon. I might, I'm thinking about growing another tile vine against that fence down there. It's not too sunny down here. It don't get too much sun. But I always think it's a waste when you see a vertical area like this fence with nothing growing up it. I always think you should grow something up a vertical area. Use every space, every bit of space you've got, particularly in what is admittedly a modest sized garden like this. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Catch you soon. Cheers now.